So as many of you know, I am a composer, and I am lucky I get to write all kinds of music, but I have a secret history as a composer of lullabies. Lots of lullabies. When we were younger and our friends started to have children, and of course we had no money, so I would write lullabies for our friends to sing to their children. I would copy them out in ink. I would make 2 recordings, one with vocals and one without, and then I'd put them on a cassette tape and give it to them, which I guess dates me. These lullabies they meant a lot, I think, to us as a family. And then, of course, as we went along, we had children, Deborah and I, and you can imagine this, we were in the hospital room at New York Hospital, right? My wife is on a gurney waiting for contractions, and we're writing a lullaby together for our first son, William Asher. William Asher, William Asher, afternoon light fades into night. Wherever you are, we're not far. Sleep, William, sleep, little William, sleep. Anyway, flash forward, it's May 12th, 2011, and James Shipp and his group, Nos Novos, and I gave a concert at Jacobi Hospital in the Rotunda Auditorium. It was about a 50-minute concert, but it was a culmination of a longer project, 12 weekly workshops where kids got together, kids who were affected by HIV, to write songs. We performed those songs on that concert, and the audience was a familiar mix. It was friends, it was family, it was folks from local senior centers, it was hospital patients, it was Carnegie staff, it was hospital staff. And in the hospital staff, among them were 2 nurses from the obstetrics unit. And I guess it must have stuck with them because about a month later, we're in a planning session, and one of the nurses says, "You know, I can't get that concert out of my head. Those kids were so amazing, but I can't help but think what an opportunity it would be for our patients. We see pregnant teens, and they have all kinds of trouble attaching to their children. Now, I don't know if this would be possible," she said, "but wouldn't it be amazing if they could write lullabies for their own future children still in the womb?" Now, see, I think anybody would have heard that as a pretty interesting idea. But think of me with my secret lullaby history, right? So my eyes were big as moons, and I have no idea what anybody said for the rest of the meeting. I was just thinking lullabies, lullabies. And thank goodness for the people at Carnegie Hall, because they believe in experimentation. And the next thing I know, I'm sitting at a Starbucks with singer-songwriter Emily Eagen.
And I found myself sitting at this Starbucks with the illustrious Tom Cabaniss. And that was at the point where I was not only planning on embarking on the Lullaby Project, but I actually had coincidentally found that I was about 4 months pregnant myself. So I realized that I would be participating in the Lullaby Project in a very personal way. And this should have imbued me with a lot of confidence, but thinking back to my own childhood when the primary song that I heard was the Michigan Fight song, sung very softly by my dad before I went to sleep, made me think I may not actually be prepared either for this Lullaby Project or motherhood. I'm gonna need some help. But fortunately, Tom Cabaniss was the perfect person. And we sat in Starbucks and kind of unfolded all the things that this Lullaby Project could entail. And the main way that our conversation put me at ease was by expanding the concept of a lullaby itself. We really dove in to enlarge it. My original concept had been more traditional lullabies from my background in folk music, so thinking All the Pretty Little Horses and Rockabye Baby, which are great. But our discussion helped make the idea of a lullaby much more contemporary and much more emotionally nuanced. And So to create a really personal lullaby for each mom to have a chance to write a really special song celebrating the birth of this particular child. And the other person who helped us with this was Ellen Walk, the facilitator of the Teen Moms program at Jacobi. And she has an amazing sense of how to directly connect with all of the teens there. She even texts them in the middle of the night, sometimes when they're even in labor. So she's got this direct line to this community. And she said, you know, these songs not only need to soothe the newborns, but these are women who are really experiencing a lot of fear about motherhood. There's a lot of stress on them because they're so young. A lot of them are single parents. Some of them have been in foster care. We want this to help them attach to their children and also help them somehow build their own lives in the process so that this doesn't feel like an end, but really a beginning. And all of these things came together to infuse the Lullaby Project with something very aspirational. As you'll see when you hear some of the lullabies, the way I thought about it was that a lullaby doesn't just give the baby a chance to sleep, but it gives them a chance to dream. And I think you'll see that.
So, I'll tell you a little bit about the project structure, right? We had to think of how to do this since we hadn't done it before. And we had two theories. The first one was that, a lullaby is a short form, so our process should be pretty compact. And the second thing that we thought about was that it was most important to have a recording for them to use as legacy, as heirloom. So that sort of trumped the idea of a public concert. So our structure was 1 2-hour workshop to write the lyrics, 1 2-hour workshop to write the music, a recording session, and then a launch party.
And in our first session, it was a get-to-know-you session. So we had a number of participants, including one dad. We had members of the Jacobi staff. We had Ellen Walk. We had Tom, Manuel Balgoro, and from Carnegie Hall, and me. And Tom and I introduced ourselves. We talked about the project. And we learned that not everyone even knew what a lullaby was. So we had to translate this genre and talk about what it meant to sing a song to your baby, and asked everyone what songs they had heard as children. Then we created a kind of circle song and made music that caught the essence of a lullaby with some rocking and shushing. And then Tom sang the song that you heard, and I sang a song that I wrote, giving myself the same assignment that we would be giving the participants. We asked them to write a letter to their child, but not as a baby, imagining their child as a 20-year-old, 20-something, all the things that they hope for them in their life as an adult. And so my song, each phrase began, I hope you, I hope you, I hope you. And that was the way that we created an entry point. The next part was to have them write some kind of pre-writing. And then we asked them to look at these letters and identify the most important words. They circled those words, and little by little, we started taking those words, rhyming them, turning them around, and through the magical process of songwriting, we came up with lyrics.
And so once those lyrics were in pretty good shape, we started the slightly more awkward process of creating the music, right? Creating the melodies. So, and I would say there was no consistent, no uniform way of doing it. If you'd been around the room, you would have seen some people whispering little melodic cells into our ears. You would have seen some people saying, I could never, write a melody, but having very clear opinions about which parts of the song should ascend, which descend, and which repeat. And then some of them actually could sing their tunes from whole cloth, like this one that you're going to hear now by Mariah. cello and Paula Garcia on violin, and Mariah singing her song, You're My Baby. So I wish I could tell you that there was a secret to getting the music for these lullabies written, but it just was really a matter of the participants' experience, the environment in the room, the bravery that they were willing to show, and then our ability to kind of capture the ideas. We had to record things because we had very little time, and then what I would do is then go make a lead sheet. Just a lead sheet, right? And then we would take it into the studio where we created the arrangements sort of improvisationally or based what we'd done in the workshop. And by that time, then we had a recording to give to the parents-to-be.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to listen to one of them. It's pretty typical of the project. It's a young woman named Luz wrote it, and she attended the workshops with her mother. She was 13 years old, so she was on the young spectrum of the community, and very soft-spoken, so she whispered some lyrics and some tunes into my ear, and the word that she had circled on her lead sheet was angel, on her pre-writing was angel. So we turned that into the song, and because she had felt initially very sad that she was pregnant, we made some part of the song minor, and then because she said she did feel hopeful, we also used major.
I am waiting for my angel. I am waiting to see you smile. I will always be there for you as you grow big, my child, my beautiful angel. I want you to have so many things. I want you to always be happy and fly on beautiful wings. I am waiting for my angel. I am waiting to see you smile. I will always be there for you as you grow big, my child. As you grow big, my child.
Emily Eagen on the ukulele, singing, Paula Garcia on the violin, John Popham on the cello. So here's another one, and it's at the other end of the spectrum. We'd written a whole bunch of lullabies, but there was one set of lyrics left over because Shauna had not been able to make the music session. She just missed it and couldn't get there. And so we texted her that night. The recording session was the next morning, and so we texted her and said, could we just write some music and use your lyrics? Would you be interested in us doing that? And she said, okay. And so we wrote this one. So this is Shauna's Dream Big.
Dream big, never give up. 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 I'll give you the sun and I'll bring you the moon. I'll give you what you need. I'll give you love. Dream big, never give up. 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 If you need, don't be afraid to ask. If you want, I'll do my best. If you dream, reach for the stars. Dream big, never give up. 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 Dream big, never give up.
Emily Eagen.
And Tom on piano. Thank you. So I think you can see we ended up with some very beautiful and very original results. Some of the songs are about love, hope, and aspiration, but also some are about stress, sadness, some are funny, and some really express the wish to overcome. So, and some have the traditional sound of a lullaby, others don't, are funny or sultry or even downright rousing. So we came up with these unique songs, and it was really clear in the final session that each mother did feel a sense of ownership over her song. And in addition, the songs really helped connect the community. They, in a way, spoke for each person in a way that they couldn't necessarily speak for themselves. Mariah's song really spoke to another participant, Letitia, who had also found herself in foster care and in shelters and wasn't sure if she felt entitled to have a baby. And Mariah inspired her that way through the songwriting process. Luz, who was the shyest participant, I think she got some of the greatest compliments from other people on her song, and it helped bridge the gap between languages and between age differences among the participants. In addition, the Jacoby staff members said over and over again that the project really helped them further the mission that they had in their own work to address things in prenatal workshops, like the participants' responsibility for their children, the need to calm a crying baby, and again, this desire to form an attachment. So what we think we achieved is a meaningful experience, but achieving meaning and even knowing what that is very difficult to talk about. But it's the reason that we're probably all here as musicians and teachers. So we wanted to address that rather than shy away from it. How in any of these projects do we actually get to something meaningful? In our case, I think Tom and I found it by constantly returning to the musical root of this project. It was easy once we looked at the form of a lullaby and mine it for all that it could mean, which are questions that we could ask ourselves about any musical form. Why does this form exist? What meaning has it given people over the centuries? And how can we, starting with it, expand and explore and explode this particular genre to fit our project? How can we use musical forms, lullabies, anthems, dances, to help people in need achieve a deep personal connection to music? If we go back to the essence of a lullaby, which, as Tom and I have both said, seems to be about attachment, you can see a lullaby opening up this musical and personal space for a very intimate moment between a parent and a child. It's a miniature but eternal ritual, and one of the Jacoby nurses said that it connects parents to children through many moons and across many oceans. If as people and as cultures we need this, then we have the music to do it. So for me, as I counted down the weeks before the birth of my own daughter, I realized one thing, that the Carnegie Lullaby Project was one of the few times that I actually took creative space, and I think that it had a similar impact for the participants. And I also found that after her birth, the only songs running through my head were these lullabies. So I'd like to leave you with a couple of these very direct and simple but essential lyrics. I love to see you smile. You are our biggest dream. Don't you worry. We will always love you. And hush, hush, sweet dreams. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.